Hi guys, this is Dan. Welcome back to my channel. Today, let's talk about all the amazing books that I have read in August. Yes, I didn't say just fantasy books because we have got a traitor. Maybe we can begin with my reading statistics in August. In August, I have read 5 books with a total of 2,096 pages. The average rating in August is 3.6 stars. Compared to July, it is slightly better by 0.1 stars, which is not a major difference. In terms of the genre, we have got 4 fantasy and 1 romance. Yes, I know how much I hate fantasy romance, and I tried romance in August. It is like the end of the world. For these 4 fantasies, one of them is like a crime mystery and 2 of them is Asian inspired. Out of these 5 books, very interestingly, 3 of them is from my book subscription, the Gospel GSFF, the Broken Binding Fantasy Tier 2 subscription, and also Afterlight. The remaining 2 are all from my local library. Elephant in the Room. I also finished Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill in August, but I started it in July. So the reading statistics didn't include this one, so maybe I guess we should start with this one. The first book I finished in August is Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill, the 3rd novel of the Bound and the Broken series. It also takes me so long to finish it because of the size of it. It is like nearly 1,000 pages and the words are like tiny. I mean, look at it. This was on my July's TBR, but I was really busy, so I can only finish it in August in the next month. By the way, this one is really heavy. I really need to put it down before I deep dive to it. Here comes with a very bold statement. This book has become my all-time favorite fantasy book. The plot, the characters, the turn of events, all the joy, all the pain, all the tears are packed in one book. By the way, I have done a reading vlog documenting my process of reading this fantastic fantasy book, so if you're interested in it, go and check that video out after you finish this one. Honestly, I don't know where to start with this book because we are 3 books in and lots of things have happened. Most importantly, I don't want to give out too much details to spoil your reading experience because trust me, this book is great. The Bound and the Broken is an epic fantasy series. In short, we're gonna follow a huge cast of characters in the world of Euphoria. Most important one is a young man called Kanan. He joined the rebellion because of what the Lorian Empire has done to his family. Kanan is very special because he can bound with a dragon, something that hasn't been done for over 400 years. So he would be seen as like a symbol in this rebellion. On this journey, he would meet other characters, but not just humans, but there would be like elves and other mythical creatures you would expect in a fantasy world. There will be wars, there will be meeting up with long-lost friends. This book is honestly packed with so many emotional moments, so get your tissue ready. The epic battle by the end of the book is very lively. It is like an anime that you can check out how every character is going on, and the ending broke my heart. I don't want to give out too much, but I am very proud of that character. I really love every character in this world. Every single one of them has gone through a lot and made them the person they are now. And I also enjoy the chemistry between them because of this reason. One that stuck out for me is Father the Justiciar. This title will scare everyone in this world, but I do enjoy his interaction with Kanan's sister, Ella. With what had happened in the last 2 books, coming to this one, their relationship is getting more interesting. We understand this character, Father, more. What he has gone through in the past explains why he is so interested in Ella. I am feeling exactly the same goosebump now, even though I have finished this book for over a month, but talking about it now still makes me very emotional. I honestly can't pray this book more. If I could, I would rate this book 10 out of 5 stars and I meant to break the system. If you have heard about this series but you have got no time to start it yet, do it now because it is definitely worth it. Maybe you have started the first book and you think it is not as great as people say. I would suggest you to go for it, keep going for it because once again, it's gonna worth it. This book is very emotional and it is epic. The second book I finished in August is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, the first book of the Shadow of Leviathan series. I borrowed this one from my local library, so I don't have this copy in my hand now. Fantasy, I like. Murder mystery, I like too. Put them together, whoa. This series is about an assistant called Dean helping an investigator called Anna to investigate a mysterious murder. The victim of this case is a high imperial officer and Dean is an engraver, meaning that he can remember every single detail in the crime scene. After reporting to Anna about this case, they find out that there are more similar murders in the Empire, so they travel to a neighboring canton and figure out what is actually going on. It is a murder mystery, so I honestly don't want to give out too much details about this book. If I tell you the nature of the crime, who is the murderer, there would be no fun when you read it and you would hate me forever. So maybe it is better for me to talk about this book in a very brief term. In terms of this case, I would say everything makes sense, and I think the author is really clever because he can tie up all the little details together with a dash of fantasy elements in this world. So we can't replicate this case in real life. I also enjoy the pacing of this investigation, finding out more and more about this world. Like the title of this series, there will be a Leviathan attacking the coastal cities in the wet season. We will also understand more about Dean's past, so I do like how everything comes together at last. The writing here is very easy to follow and you won't feel overwhelmed by too much info, so this one is definitely a page turner. I will definitely keep on reading this series in the future. One thing I don't like though is how Anna gonna solve this case. It is a bit like Poirot when he would tell us the truth in the end of like an episode or by the end of the book. But Anna is just not as lovely as Poirot. She always wears a blindfold and it seems that she always knows something is going on, but she won't tell you anything about it. There are so many moments in the story when she's like, of course I knew what is going on, who do you think I am? But we never know how she reached this kind of conclusion, what is the thought process behind. So if this character is more approachable in a sense, I would love it more. So with this reason, I can't give this a 5-star, instead I will give it a 4. You watched this far already, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoy it, subscribe to my channel Fantasies so I can pop out on your home screen more. You can also share all the books you have finished in August in the comment below. The third book I finished in August is a very interesting one. It is Hot Summer by Elle Everhart. I got this book, if you can't tell already, from Afterlight. It is their July book and also it is the first book I received from them. If you can't tell already, this book is a romance and it is also my first time reading it.
But I hate fantasy romance.
This book sounds really fun to me. It is about our main character, Cass. Her company want to promote their business, so they invite Cass to this dating reality show called Hot Summers. It is like a Love Island set in a fictional world. In there, Cass met her love at first sight, Anna. Before coming to this show, Cass has studied every single episode of every series, so she is very prepared to stay until the finale because ultimately she wants to promote their business. But she has to keep it a secret to other contestants. So in the story, Cass is like torn between two thoughts. On one hand, she has to keep up with a very positive image to do things that will appeal the audience so she could stay longer. But on the other hand, you got this hot girl, Anna, that Cass is interested in. What I do like about this book is the vibe of it. It is definitely giving heavy reality show moments. There will be plenty of dramas arranged by the production, which is like my guilty pleasure. But this book is not just about bitching the contestants. The whole vibe in this thriller is just not competitive, but it is also very supportive. If let's say one of the contestants is showing some signs of interest to another character, the rest of the cast will try to ship them together, which is like very lovely. What I also appreciate is that there are moments for Cass and Anna to open up about their past to show their vulnerability, which enrich the story. And of course, there will be some very spicy scenes and they are honestly quite full on, so be prepared for it. Overall, it is a very entertaining, fun, easy summary, so I give this one 4 stars. The next book I finished in August is Going Back to My Root Fantasy, and it is Jade City by Fonda Lee, the first book of the Green Bone saga. I always want to get into this series, but I don't know why, I just can't find the right time for it. So thanks to the Broken Binding Fantasy sub, I got no reason not to start it now. In this book, we mainly follow the Cow family in K-Con. This family mainly deals with the Jade business, which Jade in this world can grant you some superhuman abilities if you are given with the right training. There would be 4 POVs from this family. Firstly, we have the eldest son, Lan, the second eldest, Hilo, the daughter, Shay, and also an adopted cousin called Aiden. This book, I would say, begins quite slowly. In the first half, we will see what this family has gone through before, who are their rivals, what they will do in terms of business, how the relationship between these siblings is, and also what sort of romantic encounter they had before. It was a bit difficult to get through because there are just too much information, and as a reader, we don't know what direction are we going for. But this changed completely upside down because of a huge twist in the second half of the story. I was in complete shock when I read that part, I'm not gonna lie, and I didn't think something like this would happen. But thanks to this twist, our characters got a more clear goal and know what to do. I do like the take of family business in this book. For all the fantasy books that I have read before, I very rarely come across with this kind of set in a modern world and focus on just one family business. Every family member would do anything to protect its legacy, but not every single one of them is perfect. They got so much to learn with their new roles. How to negotiate, how to speak better in diplomatic terms, and how to be a leader. So there will be frictions between these family members even though they share similar general feel. I also enjoy this fantasy world construct by Fonda Lee, and I can see lots of references to Asian culture. Jade itself is a very special gem that symbolizes value like peace and durability. Gangster movie was very popular in the 80s and 90s, so you can see lots of reference of it from Hilo's perspective. They will see that gang is like a family and call each other brother, which is similar to what Hilo is doing. K-Con, this fictional city, sounds like Hong Kong. Jianlun also sounds like another Hong Kong city called Kowloon. This city is also built on a harbor which is also similar to Hong Kong. We have the Victoria Harbor. You guys know me, I got a massive soft spot for Asian fantasy, especially when it's executed well. This one is very close to me because I am from Hong Kong too, so it kind of holds some special values. Although the start is a bit slow, when everything take off, it really hit the mark, so I gave this one 4 stars. Coming to the last 2 books, I finished them over my holiday. I didn't have time to finish them in one go, so I have to split them over my holiday, so it kind of affect my reading experience. But still, the first one I brought to my holiday is The Ally of Law by Brandon Sanderson, the first book of the Miss Bond era too. I also borrowed this one from my local library and I have already returned this one, so you can see me in my hands. This book takes place 300 years after the first trilogy, so it don't really have much to do with the original trilogy. In this book, we're gonna follow a pair of good friends, Wax and Wing. They're gonna investigate a series of robberies which got bigger scheme behind. There are many questions surrounding these robberies. Let's say what you can gain from it. What is the true purpose of these robberies and who is behind it? Wax got his own past in the rough when he's like a peacekeeping force in there, making him retire from this and focus on his family business in the city. Other than this pair of Animancer detectives, we also follow another female character called Marasi, who is the cousin of the one that Wax needs to marry. As a series that is set in the same world as the Final Empire trilogy, there are a couple of nods to the original 3 books. Finding them is like an Easter egg hunt which is interesting and entertaining. I also enjoyed the investigation with these 3 POVs. The whole process is quite immersive and it is like finding clues with them and try to put every piece together. Out of these 3 POVs, I like Wayne more, he's more fun. I love his acting and playing with accents. I think those solo chapters when he's like playing a character is a spotlight for me. Also, Wayne is so much younger than Wax, so when they're together, Wayne is like energizing the whole situation and making the interaction more fun. But this book, unfortunately, I don't think is the best representation of Brandon Sanderson's work. This book is not long already and we are only focusing on one case. So the plot itself is pretty straightforward, finding out who is responsible for the robbery. But every chapter just takes a bit more time to get to the point. Let's say what sort of information we are looking for in this case, the action or the character development. I just find the pacing is a bit slow for me. In a Brandon Sanderson book, you would expect a massive twist, right? But in this one, the twist didn't really blow me away. Maybe because the scope of this first book is not big and we are not following a huge cast of characters. The three detectives, the bride and her father, and the bad guy, and I mean that's it. So when the pieces are narrowing down and you can see the twist is coming, I was not surprised by it. So this one didn't blow me away, but I have heard that the last book, The Lost Metal, got bigger connection to the Cosmere as a whole, so I would definitely keep on reading this series. Hopefully I can catch up before the Stormlight Archive Book 5. By the way, I gave this one 3 stars. Okay, here comes to the last book I finished in August, and it is Gospel GSFF July's book, The Night Ends with Fire by KX Sung. I was a bit intimidated by this one because on Goodreads you can see text like fantasy romance. And you know that I am not the biggest fan of this genre, but this one turns out to be okay, I would say. In this book, we're gonna follow Maylin, who didn't want to accept the arranged marriage, so she dressed up like a man and joined the army. Along with her is a jade left by her long-dead mother, which can allow her to connect to the spiritual realm and talk to a spirit, the sea dragon. Maylin on this journey would meet different characters that gonna pull her to different beliefs. A prince called Sky who leads the army, another character Sima who can also talk to a spirit, another prince that gonna manipulate Maylin. Maylin has to figure out which one to trust, which one to fight along with. I think this one is really fast-paced, from why and how Maylin joined the army to what she gonna do in this expedition. It all happened really quickly and we won't stay in one place for too long. Sometimes I did find the whole process is a bit on the convenient side because Maylin can crack the code too quickly. I also enjoy her interaction with the Prince Sky. We all know that Maylin has to hide her secrets, and I mean she is the only female in this army full of alpha male. So when she tried to do something to hide her identity, but the prince would feel the opposite way, which could be entertaining sometimes. I also love the growth of Maylin in this book, from someone who just want to escape from this destiny arranged by someone else, to try to prove her worth in this army that is full of male, to think she could become someone more useful, more important, like a warlord. I do like how she evolves on this journey because of what she has gone through. This book begins with a message from the author to her grandfather. It mentions how much the author also loves the romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is like a very classic military novel in China. So in this book there will be some references about it, let's say the name of some characters. And once again, I do enjoy this kind of Easter egg hunt in an Asian-inspired fantasy. But my biggest problem with this book is the lack of originality. This book just borrowed too many tropes from other successful Asian-inspired fantasy. Let's say our main character wanna escape from this opium-addicted father and try to find a way to leave home. Remind you of something else? Yes, it is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. In this book, Maylin can also talk to the spirits in the spiritual realm, and this concept is also very similar to The Poppy War again. A woman disguised as a man to join the army reminds you of something else? Yes, it is Mulan. A jade that got some sort of magical power, it is also very similar to the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. A female character coming from a very poor family to dream big to become a ruler. It is also like The Radiant King by Shelley Parker Chan. I'm not saying any author shouldn't reuse this kind of materials, but I just think it is a bit too much in this one. In this book, there are also some very confusing writing. For example, our main character is called Maylin. Her best friend is Xiu Ying. And then the prince is called Sky. One of her best friends in the army is called Sparrow. Sometimes there will be some Chinese characters to describe certain objects, but I think you could find the English translation to it. I mean, if you want to do an Asian-inspired fantasy, I would expect a consistency of the language used. Just name them all in either English or Chinese, but not a mix of it, please. With all these problems, I gave this one 3 stars. So here are all the books I finished in August. Honestly, I am so proud of myself to finish this much even though I was on holiday. Don't forget you can also share all the books you have finished in August down in the comment below. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. If you don't want to miss any content from me, make sure you have subscribed to my channel. I'll see you all real soon. Goodbye.